Hi. Um, welcome to class. It is February 26th. Um, I am actually currently on a boat heading towards Cuba. As most of you know, I'm doing the St. Petersburg to Havana race, and so I wanted to make sure that we had a little bit of an overview to kind of go through. You actually have some work that you're going to be doing in class that'll kind of take and translate the text, but I wanted just to kind of give you a little video observation each like Monday and Wednesday. And then, of course, Ken will take you through the work and you'll be participating in all that good stuff that we would normally do in the classroom. I'll be returning home Thursday. And then I'll be back in class on Friday for the wrap up, where we'll talk about like what does this text really tell us about ourselves and about others, and how do we reconcile how we take the responsibility for what we're doing to the planet, right? So I think the first thing that I always like to do is just contextualize what we're doing in the classroom. You guys know this very well. You've just read chapters 1 and 5 of the Sixth Extinction. You haven't completed a log yet. The log will be due on Wednesday, and you do have a paper due on Friday. Um, but actually, the Sixth Extinction really, chapters 1 and 5 are really kind of about giving you an understanding of how the wave of these biological extinctions really do characterize the time we live in, which Kolbert and others have deemed as the Anthropocene, which means all about anthro, which is us, people, right? Um, Now, some of the book is a little tedious, right? But it's very engaging because there's these character sketches and there's these scientists that you see as people and not just as these weird artificial selves, right? That they're other from us. Um, there's a lot of really interesting information in this book, and even though we're not reading the whole thing, I urge you to read it because from the Great Barrier Reef to Peru to New Jersey, we're really seeing um, this sense of what's happening on our planet, right? Chapters 1 through 4 reference, as you can see in the text, each of the 13 chapters focuses on the name of a species that is living or dead. That kind of is the focal point of the topic. Chapters 1 through 4 really do kind of establish a really good basis. Like I said, we're reading chapters 1 and 5. So, chapter 1 was all about the Panamanian golden tree frog, which is really a cute frog if you Google it. Um, it is an interesting kind of overview in the sense that the golden frog starts dying, right? And it's reached this odd tipping point. There are some people that are protecting it at the Amphibian Conservation Center, and Kolbert, of course, focuses on this exploration too. Um, the kind of the recurrent theme in this text that you're going to see over and over again is um, the, I guess you'd say, humanly induced extinction risk, which is held away, but not much, thanks to efforts of a small group of humans. So there's this overwhelming push to destroy this species, and a few individuals are heroically trying to save the species, right? And so you'll see this in each of the areas, and we have to ask ourselves: Is this even worth it? Does this make sense? Is this valid? Um, what culpability do we have? Chapters 2 and 3, which we're not reading, do really kind of lay out a history of extinction as like a concept, kind of what it works, because not people haven't always thought about extinction in the same way that we do. So this really does kind of give us a good historical observation on how extinction and the loss of different species was told, how that story was told, right? And it goes through Darwin and Lyell and a lot of the other, um, I guess you'd say, kind of chroniclers of this phenomenon known as extinction. Um, Chapters 5 through 7 are all about the water, right? Which I think we all should be kind of connected with where we are right now. Chapter 5 is really about kind of sea creatures and carbon dioxide and the idea that we're not quite clear of the actual cause of this extinction, but the kind of the paradigm of neo catastrophism, And Kolbert actually mentions that conditions on Earth change only very slowly, except when they don't. Which I was just like, really, really, that's where we're going with that. She also makes the argument here that in today's world, the most obvious agent of rapid change is humanity. There's this rate of change that's been accompanied, of course, by our need to spread out, of course, through sea changing, and that we have this responsibility in many ways to think about what Anthropocene means. Anthropocene actually goes back to a Nobel Prize winner, Paul Crutzen, who suggested that the Holocene epoch is over, and he termed Anthropocene. And in a paper in the journal Nature, he noted that human activity has transformed between a third and a half of the land surface of the planet, that most of the world's major rivers have been dammed or diverted, that fertilizer pollutants produce more nitrogen than is fixed naturally by our ecosystems, that fisheries remove more than a third of the primary production of the ocean's coastal waters, and that humans use more than half of the world's readily accessible freshwater runoff. And then we don't even have to talk about the idea that the concentration of carbon dioxide is more than 40%. So we kind of have this discussion of what Anthropocene means, right? And kind of how we're dealing with that. And that's kind of what we're working on right now in this day. For today, we're really thinking about chapters 1 and chapters 5 and just kind of wrestling with the idea of like, where do we fit into this? How do we fit into this? And what do we do if we are going to take responsibility? Are we going to be that small group of humans that try to do something? Or are we going to be, I guess you'd say more of a guide, right? So what you're going to focus on for today is you've been given a little overview of kind of some work that you're going to be accomplishing. What you are going to first do after we chat is you're going to kind of watch a short little PowerPoint, and it's going to kind of take you through a few ideas that will kind of establish the prompt for this activity. You're going to kind of first kind of go through the PowerPoint, and then you're going to just kind of pause and think alone about the top 5 criteria from the list on slide 13 and 14. So think by yourself, and then you'll move into groups of 3 or 4 and share ideas. And then we'll have each group share 1 or 2 of your top priorities or justifications. You will then go to PowerPoint slide 15, and this will give you about 15 or 20 minutes to work in groups and then report your recommendations. There is a handout that you'll get, and you'll kind of go through in your groups to evaluate and rank the potential conservation projects described in the handout. You'll kind of take some notes, make marks if a criteria is met, etc., and then you'll kind of provide your rank and justifications. And then you're going to kind of go through it. You'll see that you're going to kind of go through this notion of am I the little person trying to save something, or am I going to be part of a different kind of movement? The goal of this, of course, is at the end that you'll explain the impacts of humans on biological diversity, which is what Kolbert's trying to get us to do. You're going to compare and contrast causes and effects, or causes and rates, of the 6th extinction with previous mass extinctions. And then you're going to evaluate the criteria and distinguish between ex situ and in situ conservation approaches, like in country or out of country, right? And then you're going to kind of explain what your criteria is, and then you're going to rank it, and then you're going to have your justification. And you're going to do this for either the Borneo project, the Guadalupe Island project, the Lake Titicaca Peruvian sector, or the orcs. Ooh, look, who's orcs, right? I thought you'd like it. Anyway, so you'll have this handout that'll be given to you, and you'll have a large portion of this class to really deal with it. I think this is a great way to get Kolbert's ideas into your hands so that you're actually doing something. Now, when we go to class on Wednesday, we're actually going to have Haven and Emma will do their presentation. And then you're all going to be responsible for sharing the logs. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some misinformation, I guess you'd say, campaigns, and then we'll kind of go from there. I'll do another brief little overview for Wednesday. So have fun. Hopefully there's a little bit of breeze and I'll be into Cuba by like Tuesday. That I'm not becalmed out there in the middle of the Gulf. But it should be fun. If you want to watch and see my track, I have sent that to you. There's a little tracker. The boat that I am on is Merlin. It's owned by Chip Merlin, and that's the one that I'm going to be sailing on. So please feel free to track me, see where I'm going. Hopefully it's going quickly. Anyway, so have a great day discussing this. I look forward to seeing what you've explored and talking about this when I come back on Friday and you kind of report back to me on Monday and Wednesday. The handouts that you do will be collected by Ken, and he'll be turning those in to me on Friday so I can mark your participation. So thanks so much and have a great day.